Everyone who has seen this seed must die. But I swallowed it directly, and nurtured it for 18 years. Because my father told me before he died, that once the seed sprouted within my body, I would undergo a complete transformation. But before the seed sprouted, I couldn't speak. Because the moment I opened my mouth, I would leak the seed's aura, thus attracting the wrath of heavenly thunder, and might even be struck dead by lightning. So for 18 years, I haven't spoken a single word, leading others to believe I was mute. Tomorrow is the last day of the 18th year. But today, something unexpected happened. Continued from the previous episode, for newcomers, it is recommended to start from the first episode. Here begins the main story. In just a short while, hundreds of bottles were sold. Making Chen Siling grin from ear to ear, he mocked, "Young Master Fang, your negative example is more effective than 100, or even 1,000 words from me. Why don't you come to my Chen family? Stand at the shop entrance every day, and tell the story of how you lost your wife because of a bottle of low-grade refining liquid, boosting my Chen family's performance." Hearing these mocking words, Fan Chen smiled playfully, picked up a brush and wrote, "Patriarch Chen, you're laughing too soon." Chen Siling laughed heartily. "You're right, I have even better news to announce." The real laughter comes later. Fan Chen's smile deepened, and he wrote, "I hope you'll still be laughing in the end." With that, he turned and entered the alley. Chen Siling was disdainful, and snorted coldly. "What a joke. He wants to see my Chen family's downfall. Doesn't he know who we've attached ourselves to? That's a 9-grade refining route. A future peerless master. Little did he know that soon, a mysterious person cloaked in a thick robe and wearing a mask would emerge from the alley. A person who would become his and the entire Chen family's nightmare." Fan Chen ascended the steps to the Chen family's booth, where Chen Siling was pacing back and forth. Suddenly seeing a dark shadow, she frowned slightly. "You are the shopkeeper." Also looked over and recognized the attire at a glance, his heart immediately pounding wildly, stuttering, Bye big miss. It's him. It's him." Chen Siling's heart trembled slightly, and she quickly stepped forward and bowed. "Siling." "Greet Senior," the shopkeeper hurriedly introduced. "Senior, this is my Chen family's eldest young lady, handling family affairs on behalf of her father." Fan Chen was not concerned about the Chen family's affairs, and still used a muffled voice to say, "How much refining liquid can you handle?" Chen Siling's jaw was hidden. Is this soul master really going to cooperate with the Chen family? Her eyes flickered slightly, and she said, "My Chen family has prepared 100,000 taels of silver. According to the market price, we can take 10 bottles of mid-grade refining liquid." Hearing this, Fan Chen frowned. He didn't have any mid-grade refining liquid now, only high-grade. Chen Siling did not receive a response for a long time, and mistakenly thought that the money she had prepared was not enough. Making the other party unhappy, she said, "Senior may not know that our Chen family will purchase your refining liquid for 10,000 taels of silver. The price is absolutely fair. The Chen family across from us has already refined mid-grade refining liquid, and in the future, the two families will compete. The selling price will definitely be lower than 10,000 taels of silver. Our Chen family is taking a loss to gain reputation." Fan Chen said, indifferently, "I don't sell mid-grade." Chen Siling couldn't help but glance at the shopkeeper beside her, as if to say, "Didn't you explain it clearly to this soul master? If we don't buy his mid-grade, are we supposed to buy low-grade refining liquid? Low-grade refining liquid is not enough to make the Chen family famous." The shopkeeper was also sweating profusely. He had clearly stated to invite this soul master to sell mid-grade refining liquid on the spot. At this moment, Fan Chen silently took out a bottle and held it in his palm, saying, "I only sell this." Chen Siling and the shopkeeper looked over at the same time. Chen Siling was still able to maintain her composure, but her pupils constricted. Refining mid-grade refining liquid and refining high-grade refining liquid were two different concepts. The former could be done by a first-grade soul master. The latter required at least a second-grade soul master. And a second-grade soul master, the entire Qingyun sect only had one. What kind of great person had she encountered? The shopkeeper directly exclaimed in surprise, High-grade chair refining liquid. Senior, you want to sell us this? Fang Chen asked back. Don't you want to buy it? The shopkeeper quickly said, No. We want it, of course we want it. This is high-grade chair refining liquid. Not to mention Lone Boat City, even the surrounding cities, have never seen such a top-rate elixir. With it, the Chen family can make a big splash, seize a large share of the Chen family's market, and from then on become the #1 medicine refining family in Lone Boat City. As for the Chen family's mid-grade chair refining liquid, it's simply not enough in the face of high-grade. However, the shopkeeper became worried again and said, Senior, how much do you want to sell it for? Each bottle of high-grade chair refining liquid is extremely expensive. I heard that it appeared in a distant place and was worth 50,000 taels of silver a bottle. If this sole master asks for an exorbitant price, their Chen family may not be able to purchase it in large quantities. 10,000 taels, Fang Chen said lightly. A trace of suspicion appeared in Chen Siling's eyes, and she said meaningfully, Senior, mid-grade chair refining liquid is worth 10,000 taels of silver. She couldn't help but wonder if Fang Chen had other motives. It wasn't until Fang Chen took out 3 more bottles and placed them in front of him, saying calmly, I only have one requirement. Make the Chen family collapse, can you do it? Chen Siling suddenly understood. No wonder he was selling it to them so cheaply. It turned out that this senior had a grudge against the Chen family. But did the Chen family take the wrong medicine? To actually provoke a second-grade soul master, she immediately made the decision. If Senior can provide high-grade chair refining liquid at such a low price for a long time, what difficulty is there in bringing down the Chen family? Fang Chen glanced at Qin Changshen, who was beaming with joy across the way, and said lightly, Good, provide me with the materials for the chair refining liquid, and I will refine a large amount of high-grade chair refining liquid for you now. Chen Siling immediately ordered people to arrange the materials and the refining location at noon, when the exhibition was at its busiest. Qin Changshen suddenly laughed loudly. Everyone, I have great news to tell you. Our Chen family has successfully developed mid-grade chair refining liquid, selling for 13,000 taels of silver. The whole place erupted in thunderous applause. Although it was higher than the market price, mid-grade chair refining liquid was already something that was in high demand but short supply. Getting it was already good luck. A slightly higher price was perfectly acceptable. Looking at the surging crowd, Qin Changshen laughed heartily. Ever since he attached himself to Lu Jang, the Chen family had been experiencing a series of good fortunes. Well, everyone, my Chen family also has a piece of good news to announce. To Qin Changshen's surprise, Chen Siling across the way was beaming as she held a tray covered with a red cloth. Qin Changshen frowned. This girl was playing tricks. But if she wanted to go against my Chen family, she needed to have real strength. Before he could finish his thought, Chen Siling's lips curled slightly, and she got straight to the point. Our Chen family will begin to provide a limited supply of high-grade chair refining liquid today. Then, she lifted the red cloth on the tray, and a bottle of high-grade chair refining liquid was revealed. The scene immediately erupted in a deafening uproar. High-grade chair refining liquid, it's really high-grade. 1 bottle is as effective as 5 bottles of low-grade. This is the top-grade elixir that only disciples of the Qingyun sect can enjoy. And our Lone Boat City actually has it for sale. The Chen family is going against the heavens. Qin Changshen's pupils trembled. Chen family. Where did the Chen family get high-grade chair refining liquid? This was even more deadly than the mid-grade chair refining liquid that had appeared 10 years ago. But he couldn't figure it out. Where did the Chen family get high-grade chair refining liquid overnight? He was a little panicked, seeing the customers in front of his booth all flocking to the other side. He hurriedly shouted, Everyone, don't get excited. High-grade chair refining liquid is worth at least 50,000 taels of silver. Are you sure you can afford it? This made many hot-headed martial artists pause. With embarrassed expressions, indeed, high-grade chair refining liquid was extremely precious. It was simply not something ordinary people could afford. It was better to honestly buy low-grade and mid-grade chair refining liquid. However, Chen Siling curled her lips and said, in order to thank new and old customers for their support of the Chen family for many years, we announce that for a limited period of 1 month, the price of high-grade chair refining liquid will be 12,000 taels of silver. She had carefully calculated 12,000 taels. 10,000 taels were to be paid to the senior. 1,000 was the cost of the materials. The Chen family would only earn a meager 1,000 taels of silver, but although the profit was small, it could bring down the Chen family, and that was enough. What high-grade chair refining liquid is only 12,000? This price is even lower than the Chen family's 13,000 taels for mid-grade chair refining liquid. Only a fool wouldn't buy it. I'll buy it. I want it too. Patriarch Chen. We don't want the low-grade chair refining liquid we bought from you just now. Please give us a refund. Refund. Quickly give us a refund. The crowd instantly exploded. One wave rushed to the Chen family's booth, throwing 10,000 tael silver notes. Another wave rushed to the Chen family's booth, demanding a large number of refunds. The chaotic scene lasted until dusk. Chen Chongsheng looked at the low-grade chair refining liquid that had been returned. His eyes bloodshot. Why is this happening? Why he didn't understand. Where did the Chen family get high-grade chair refining liquid? And so cheap, as if it was deliberately targeting the Chen family. Gritting his teeth, he muttered, Chen Siling. No matter who you're backed by, you're still too young to bring down our Chen family. He stood up and snorted. I've helped Lu Jang so much. It's time for him to call out his protector to help our Chen family. Behind the Chen family's booth, in a temporarily set-up tent, Fan Chen took a sip of tea, moistening his throat. After a day, a total of 50 bottles of high-grade chair refining liquid and 10 bottles of supreme-grade chair refining liquid were refined. He kept the supreme-grade chair refining liquid for himself and sold the high-grade chair refining liquid to the Chen family for 500,000 taels of silver. At this time, Chen Siling walked over with a tender expression, holding the silver notes, with a faint, subtle fragrance about her, and said, Senior, this is your 500,000 taels of silver notes. Fang Chen was expressionless, took them, and stuffed them into his arms, saying, Tomorrow I will refine another batch of high-grade chair refining liquid. You prepare the silver and materials for exchange. Then with that, he stood up to leave. Senior, wait a moment. Chen Siling's eyes flickered with a subtle glint. High-grade chair refining liquid was enough to crush half of the Chen family's power. But they still had low-grade chair refining liquid, and could still barely survive. Fan Chen thought for a moment and understood. Those who could afford high-grade chair refining liquid were ultimately a minority of martial artists. The majority of martial artists still preferred to buy low-grade chair refining liquid. The Chen family, in order to support Lu Jang, spared no effort to suppress him. And he needed to settle this score. Senior, could you refine some low-grade chair refining liquid? Chen Siling asked tentatively. Fang Chen stared ahead, lost in thought. It wasn't that he couldn't refine low-grade chair refining liquid. It was just that the demand for low-grade chair refining liquid was very large. Even if he refined it day and night, it might not be enough to meet the market demand. His main focus should be on cultivation, and to waste so much time dealing with the Chen family was clearly not worth it. Could he perhaps cultivate a few soul master apprentices? Chen Siling's face became slightly unnatural because the direction Fang Chen was staring at was precisely her rounded chest. Senior, what do you think? Chen Siling asked. Subtly covering her chest, Fang Chen came back to his senses. Sorry, I was thinking about whether to cultivate a few soul master apprentices to specifically refine low-grade chair refining liquid. But this matter can't be rushed. Selecting personnel is a major hassle. Let's discuss it in detail when we have time. He looked at the sky and took his leave. Chen Siling's heart was suddenly moved. Cultivate soul master apprentices, you know, Chen Chongsheng, with the help of his family's treasure, was only at the level of a soul master apprentice. If the Chen family had soul master apprentices, they would never have to worry again. But just as Fang Chen had aroused her interest, he put the matter aside. And recalling how Fang Chen had just stared at her chest in a daze, Chen Siling clearly misunderstood something. She bit her rosy, tempting lips lightly, and sighed slightly. He was hinting at me, right? Sure enough. All men are the same. After pondering for a long time, she said, "Bring out the illusion-breaking crystal. When he comes to the mansion tomorrow, I want to see his true appearance." The illusion-breaking crystal was the Chen family's heirloom, capable of seeing through disguises. Before making a decision on whether to sacrifice herself, she at least needed to know the true appearance of this soul master. However, most soul masters were old and extremely aged. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but feel depressed and wanted to find someone to vent her frustrations. Saying, "I heard that Ruoxu is engaged. I've been so busy these days, shopkeeper, that I haven't been able to congratulate her. Shopkeeper, go to the Liu mansion tomorrow and invite her to visit my mansion." The shopkeeper nodded slightly. Chen Siling pondered briefly and added, "Yes. Tell her to bring her fiancé along as well. She's so beautiful. Countless young talents admire her. This engagement, she must have found an extremely outstanding young master from a great family. Tell her to bring him along. I want to see which family's young master has plucked this pearl of Lone Boat City." Chen Siling and Liu Ruoxu were once classmates and close friends. Although their social statuses were vastly different, their personalities were compatible, and they got along very well. Hearing this, the shopkeeper smiled wryly. "I'm afraid Miss will be disappointed. Her fiancé's Fang Chen." Chen Siling was stunned. That Fang Chen who has always been living with the Liu family. Isn't he a mute, and he has no spiritual roots? Are you sure it's him? The shopkeeper's eyes revealed a hint of regret. "Absolutely certain. It's been spread all over Lone Boat City." Chen Siling was shocked and said, "Is Liu Ruoxu crazy? Marrying him, isn't this like sticking a fresh flower in cow dung? No, I must persuade her to give up this marriage. I must also persuade Fang Chen. He has hands and feet. Why does he have to live off a woman? As a man, can't he rely on himself?" Fang Chen, having left the exhibition, did not rush back to the Liu mansion. He came to the gate of the city lord's mansion not far away, and took out the token he had found from the person from the blood-floating palace. Seeing this token, the guard captain was filled with respect. To be able to kill someone from the blood-floating palace at such a young age. A hero emerges in youth. That blood-floating palace was an evil organization entrenched within the territory of the Qingyun sect, burning, killing, looting, committing all kinds of atrocities. They had many subalterns, and the Qingyun sect had made many attempts to eliminate them but failed. Helpless, the Qingyun sect ordered the city lords' mansions in various places to issue bounty missions for their extermination. However, people from the blood-floating palace were generally not to be trifled with by ordinary martial artists, and few could complete the mission. You are qualified to enter the cloudy spirit pool for one session of cultivation. Follow me. Under his guidance, Fang Chen came to a corner of the city lord's mansion, where there were two adjacent secret rooms. Beneath the secret rooms was the cloudy spirit pool, constantly emitting a dense spiritual energy. When he arrived, there was already a purple-clothed woman in front of the secret rooms. She was extremely tall, almost as tall as Fang Chen, with rounded and straight thighs, a waist that could be grasped with one hand, and a slender back, like an ink painting. Hearing someone coming behind her, she turned her head to look. A delicate and flawless face, as if time itself was amazed. Slender eyebrows, cold eyes, rosy lips, exquisite features, an icy and aloof temperament, like a fairy who had stepped out of a painting. She merely glanced at Fang Chen and saw his cultivation, saying indifferently, "4th level of Che, refining perfection. You're late with that." She chose a secret room and entered to cultivate. Fang Chen was stunned. Late? What did that mean? The guard captain sighed. "So you're already at the 4th level of Chen, refining perfection? Then you are indeed late. The cloudy spirit pool has been open for more than 3 years. Many martial artists have used it. The spiritual energy in the pool is not as good as before. Only martial artists at the 1st or 2nd level of Chen refining had a chance to break through. After all, martial artists at the 1st or 2nd level of Chen refining require far less spiritual energy for a breakthrough than higher level ones. Now, for those above the 4th level of Che refining to breakthrough, they need either extremely excellent spiritual roots or a high-level cultivation technique. The guard captain added, but looking at Fan Chen's attire, he didn't look like he came from a great family or possessed a good cultivation technique. He sighed silently. Since you're already here, go in and try. You can only cultivate for 1 hour. Make good use of the time. Excellent spiritual roots and a high-level cultivation technique. Fan Chen nodded slightly and entered the other secret room. While the guard captain waited there, soon after, a stern-looking middle-aged man hurried over. It was the strongest person in Lone Boat City who had appeared at the testing tower. City Lord Yi Jifeng, Fairy Liu has entered. The guard captain's expression was respectful. She is already cultivating. Yi Jifeng breathed a sigh of relief. The daughter of the Qingyun sect master. We must not neglect her. Wait here for Fairy Liu to come out. When she comes out, notify me immediately. With that, Yi Jifeng noticed that someone was also in the other secret room and frowned. Who's inside? The guard captain said, it's an unnamed youth who killed someone from the blood-floating palace. Hearing this, Yi Jifeng couldn't help but reprimand. Couldn't you have waited for Fairy Liu to finish cultivating before letting him in? The guard captain hesitated. Shall I ask him to come out? Looking at the 2 adjacent secret rooms, Yi Jifeng pondered. Forget it. An unnamed youth, with low cultivation, won't affect Fairy Liu's cultivation. You wait here. With that, he turned and went to arrange the welcoming ceremony. Fang Chen had already entered a state of selfless cultivation. His transparent spiritual roots were like the roots of a giant tree, greedily absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy. At the same time, the Emperor Realm high-level cultivation technique Clear Wine True Scripture also began to operate, accelerating the absorption of the spiritual roots. With both working simultaneously, the effect was, the spiritual energy in this place seemed to be summoned and flocked towards Fan Chen. The purple-clothed woman in the next room was in meditation and was suddenly awakened, sensing the flow of spiritual energy. A hint of confusion crossed her icy face. What's going on? I'm cultivating the highest cultivation technique of my sect, and my spiritual roots are also 7th grade. Cultivating simultaneously, the spiritual energy should be flowing towards me. She restarted her cultivation technique, trying to regain the spiritual energy. However, the spiritual energy in her secret room not only did not stay, but instead flowed out at an even faster rate. A look of shock appeared on her face. Could it be that his spiritual roots are far superior to mine? She simply gave up cultivating. Anyway, the spiritual energy in this place, for her realm, didn't have much cultivation effect. She came out of the secret room and through the crack in the door. Sensed the situation in Fan Chen's secret room. In her perception, streams of astonishing spiritual energy are being devoured, as if there was a black hole inside the secret room, sucking away all the spiritual energy, absorbing spiritual energy so quickly. She couldn't help but be moved. A flash of inspiration, and she was slightly surprised. Could he be the one with the 9th-grade spiritual roots detected in Lone Boat City? She stared intently at the stone door of the secret room, a hint of rivalry in her eyes. This time, she had sneaked out behind her father's back, for no other reason, as the proud daughter of heaven. She wanted to see for herself what was so special about this 9th-grade spiritual root that had shocked the world. At this moment, a muffled sound came from the secret room, and a wave of fluctuation from the 5th level of Che, or finding slowly spread out. The guard captain's pupils constricted, and he whispered. He broke through. The spiritual energy here was very thin. It was clearly only enough for low-level martial artists to break through. Yet Fang Chen had succeeded. The purple-clothed woman's icy face also showed a trace of surprise, and she couldn't help but clench her fists. Worthy of a 9th-grade spiritual root, extraordinary. Usually, a 4th-level Che refinement cultivator at the perfect stage would absolutely be unable to break through in such thin spiritual energy. But with my spiritual root and cultivation technique, I can barely manage it. A 9th-grade spiritual root doesn't seem much stronger than mine. However, after the time it takes to burn a stick of incense, a faint popping sound came again from the secret chamber, and a powerful wave of the 6th level of terrifying swept out, lifting the dust on the ground. The purple-clothed woman's beautiful face finally revealed astonishment. In the time it takes to burn a stick of incense, he broke through from the 5th level of terrifying to the 6th level. She knew that even with all her strength, she couldn't do it. A trace of bitterness surfaced on her lips. Is this the difference between a 9th grade and a 7th grade spiritual root? The guard captain also gasped. Breaking through 2 realms in a row, hiss. The power of a 9th grade spiritual root is unimaginable to us mortals. The purple-clothed woman still held on to a last shred of stubbornness, but he's reached his limit. From the 6th layer to the 7th is an insurmountable chasm. It took me a full 10 days to break through a 9th grade. Is indeed stronger than my 7th grade. But only slightly. She breathed a sigh of relief. Her mood suddenly much lighter. As for this, the guard captain trembled. 10 days. That was because the purple-clothed woman enjoyed the top resources of the entire Qingyun sect. For ordinary people, it takes years, or even half a lifetime to cross this chasm. As time slowly passed, there was no more movement in the secret chamber, seeming to confirm the purple-clothed woman's words. Seeing that the time was about to end, the guard captain went to knock on the door, preparing to remind Fang Chen, but suddenly, an even more powerful airflow swept out from the secret chamber. The guard captain almost lost his balance. Shocked, he said, 7th level of chair refining. In just 1 hour, breaking through from the 4th level of chair refining to the 7th level. The purple-clothed woman's icy expression could no longer remain calm or clear. Cold eyes were filled with shock. She murmured in disbelief, impossible. 9th grade and 7th grade are only 2 grades apart. How can the difference be so huge? The purple-clothed woman, mercilessly struck, felt her heart almost crumble. She never dreamed that her prized 7th grade spiritual root was so vastly inferior to a 9th grade spiritual root. In her heart, facing this genius with a 9th grade spiritual root, there was no longer any trace of resentment, only a deep sense of dejection. Fang Chen, drenched in sweat, left the secret chamber, and saw the purple-clothed woman was also outside. Realizing that his cultivation had disturbed her, he quickly cupped his fists and said, "My apologies. Miss, I'm sorry, I disturbed you. You didn't disturb me, you crushed me." The purple-clothed woman looked at Fang Chen with a complex expression, deeply imprinting his appearance in her mind. She bit her lips slightly. "My name is Lu Jang. Remember my name when you catch up to my cultivation level. We will have a duel." With that, she took off the purple token hanging from her waist and tossed it to Fang Chen. "Take this. If you encounter mortal danger, take it out. Don't die on me." After saying that, she flicked her sleeve and left, leaving Fang Chen bewildered. What did I do to her? Why does she suddenly want to duel me, and even tossed me a token? Scratching his head, he left in confusion. After Lu Jang left solitary boat city, she rode a white crane and flew away. Not long after she took off, suddenly, a dark cloud covered her head. Looking up, she saw a huge blue eagle. Standing on it with his hands behind his back was a white-robed, sharp-looking middle-aged man. The powerful lore emanating from his body dispersed all the fierce winds. Seeing this person, Lu Jang was greatly shocked and quickly knelt down. Qingyun sect disciple Lu Jang. Pays respects to Vice Pavilion Master Chen of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. The person in front of her was one of the 4 Vice Pavilion Masters of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. Chen Zhengdao. Undoubtedly, he was the person from the Heavenly Secret Pavilion who had come to take away Lu Jang. "Your father is looking for you everywhere, so you ran here." Chen Zhengdao laughed. He and the sect master of the Qingyun sect were once fellow disciples, and had a very good relationship. On the way, he received a message saying that his daughter had run away, and asked him to keep an eye out for her on the way. Looking at solitary boat city below, he knew Lu Jang's purpose for coming here, and couldn't help but ask curiously, "Have you met that 9th grade spiritual root? How is he?" This question made Lu Jang's eyes redden slightly, and she said aggrievedly, "He's too much." Chen Zhengdao was stunned. In his memory, Lu Jang was a girl who refused to yield to anyone, and was extremely strong-willed. How could she be crying with grievance? How much of a blow did she receive? How did he bully you? Tell me, Chen Jiangdao. In the mood to hear a story, asked with a smile Liu Qing. Xian poured out her experience, after hearing it. Chen Jiangdao couldn't laugh anymore. This is impossible. Are you sure you didn't misjudge 1 hour? In an ordinary spirit pool. From the 4th level of chair refining, to the 7th level, I have an 8th grade spiritual root, only a line away from the 9th grade, but my cultivation speed isn't even half of what you described. Seeing Chen Jiangdao's shocked expression, Liu Qingshan felt a little better. Even an 8th grade spiritual root was struck down. How? Her mood brightened. She said, Vice Pavilion Master Chen, why don't you go and check it out yourself? Anyway, I gave him the Kingyun token. He's easy to recognize. Farewell. After saying that, she cupped her hands, humming a cheerful tune, and rode away on the white crane, leaving Chen Jiangdao dumbfounded. Is the difference between 9th grade and 8th grade really that big? I don't believe it. When Fan Chen returned, he found the mansion in chaos. Servants were hurriedly arranging flower baskets, wiping tables and chairs. Even Liu Zhengyan, the head of the family, was personally involved, and Liu Ruxu was also busy helping. What's going on? Fang Chen asked in surprise. Liu Zhengyan showed a hint of disdain. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and help. Liu Ruxu handed him a rag, and said respectfully, Just now, the city lord sent someone to inform us with all haste. The great personage from the Heavenly Secret Pavilion has arrived. Oh, that person from the Heavenly Secret Pavilion who came to take away the 9th grade spiritual root has finally arrived. What is Fang Chen standing there for? Why aren't you helping me? If you ruin my big event, your head won't be enough to pay for it. At this time, Lu Jang, full of spirit, wearing a brand new silk martial robe, with his hands behind his back, shouted mightily. Fang Chen casually threw the rag he had received on the ground, and wrote, Your affairs have nothing to do with me. The people from the Heavenly Secret Pavilion are here for Lu Jang. Why should Fang Chen help clean up? Lu Jang sneered. What an idiot. Today is the day I rise to prominence and soar to the 9 heavens. So many people outside are trying to climb on my coattails at this last moment, and I don't even have time to deal with them. And you have the opportunity to wipe my chair and mop the floor, but you don't cherish it. Wang Yingfen, who was accompanying him, was also beaming with joy, and mocked, Jenger, why bother with this mute? Some people are destined to be lowly for their entire lives. It's their fate, no matter how much you help. They won't rise. That's right, the two echoed each other. Just then, Qin Chongsheng, who had heard the news, arrived, cupped his hands and said with a smile, Young Master Lu, I congratulate you. A small gift, not worthy of mention. I hope young Master Lu will support our Qin family in the future. Behind Qin Chongsheng, several strong men were carrying several boxes of low-grade chair refining liquid, causing the Liu family members to gasp. So much chair refining liquid, at least 300. 0 taels of silver. Liu Zhengyan and Wang Yingfeng were shocked and frightened. For a moment, they didn't dare to accept it. Gifts need to be returned, and their Liu family couldn't afford to return such a generous gift. But Lu Jang laughed, accepting all gifts without refusing. Patriarch Qin, you've come at the right time. Come. Everyone who's working here gets a bottle, of course. A certain self-righteous person won't get any. Thus, everyone, from the clan members to the servants, were overjoyed to receive a bottle of low-grade chair refining liquid that they usually couldn't afford. Only Fang Chen was empty-handed. Lu Jang said proudly, Fang Chen, are you starting to regret it? You missed out on a bottle of low-grade chair refining liquid. TSK, that's a big loss. Fang Chen rubbed his chest, telling the 10 bottles of supreme-grade chair refining liquid inside not to bother with that person. He slowly wrote, If I were you, before entering the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, I wouldn't accept this gift. If Lu Jang fails to enter, what will he use to return the gift? Lu Jang sneered. Look, he dreams of becoming me. Ha ha ha. Qin Chongsheng naturally stood up for Lu Jang and said disdainfully, Fang Chen, I'm willing to give. And young Master Lu is willing to accept. Do you need to meddle in our affairs? Fang Chen looked at Qin Chongsheng and smiled playfully, writing, I'm just worried that Patriarch Chen will end up with nothing and be filled with regret. Qin Changsheng laughed. Regret? I've climbed onto the coattails of a 9th grade spiritual route. I really can't think of any reason to regret. Just then, a strong wind swept in, and a blue giant eagle slowly descended over the Liu family. A figure emanating a powerful aura leapt down. Lu Jang's breath caught. He looked at Fang Chen and said, Fan Chen, my Lu Jang's shining moment has arrived. Just watch how I leap over the dragon gate and become a true dragon of the 9 heavens. As Chen Zhengdao landed, Liu Zhengyan, leading Lu Jang, and the entire Liu family went out to greet him, kneeling on one knee. We respectfully welcome the arrival of the great personage from the heavenly secret pavilion. Chen Zhengdao smiled and nodded gently. I am the Vice Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, Chen Zhengdao. Vice Pavilion Master. Everyone present was shocked. They had originally thought that it would just be a deacon or some other staff member. Who knew that a Vice Pavilion Master would come? Everyone was both terrified and shocked. The Heavenly Secret Pavilion's emphasis on 9th grade spiritual roots far exceeded their imagination. Which of you is the 9th grade spiritual root? Chen Zhengdao asked impatiently, breaking through 3 levels in a row in 1 hour. This was to heaven-defying. Everyone turned their gaze to Lu Jang. Envy, jealousy, Zhou, and other gazes converged, making Lu Jang extremely proud. He cupped his hands and said, This junior, Lu Jang, greets Vice Pavilion Master Chen. Chen Zhengdao, upon hearing this, hurriedly stepped forward to personally help him up, nodding repeatedly in praise. Not bad. Not bad, a fine young man. Lu Jang was flattered. He never expected Vice Pavilion Master Chen to be so cordial, and couldn't help but become nervous. Chen Zhengdao smiled, then grasped Lu Jang's hand. No need to be nervous. In a way, we're practically hometown buddies. I'm from the neighboring Bilu city. 30 years ago, I was tested to have an 8th grade spiritual root, shocking the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. 30 years later, you were tested to have a 9th grade spiritual root, shocking the Heavenly Secret Pavilion once again. This is our fate. Everyone suddenly understood. So Chen Zhengdao was the genius from Bilu city, who was tested to have a black 8th grade spiritual root back then. His initiative to build a relationship and win over Lu Jang was clear to everyone present. It meant that when Lu Jang went to the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, Chen Zhengdao would definitely look after him. Lu Jang's potential was infinitely bright. Qin Changsheng clenched his fists excitedly and murmured to himself, I knew it. In my entire life, Qin Changsheng, I've never made the wrong choice. Clinging to Lu Jang's coattails is the most correct choice I've ever made. Chen Zhengdao chatted with Lu Jang for a long time, and after they had become familiar, he got to the point, scanning the Liu family members kneeling on the ground. He said, Everyone, get up. Liu Zhengyan was the first to get up, respectfully saying, Vice Pavilion Master Chen, please come in. So everyone moved to the main hall. Chen Zhengdao sat alone, while the others stood on both sides of the hall, not daring to breathe loudly. Little Lu, the power of your 9th grade spiritual root. I've already heard about it on the way here, Chen Zhengdao said with a faint smile. You even made that cold girl from the Qingyun sect cry with anger. Lu Jang was a little confused. The girl from the Qingyun sect, who was that? He only heard Chen Zhengdao continue, Can you demonstrate it live? What is the state of your spiritual root when it is operating? Breaking through 3 levels in 1 hour, that speed of absorbing spiritual energy is probably like a whale swallowing seawater. Lu Jang nodded and stepped to the center of the hall. The people from the Heavenly Secret Pavilion wanted him to show off. This was within his expectations, however. Simply operating his spiritual root was not enough to demonstrate the power of his 9th grade spiritual root, so he already had a better idea. Vice Pavilion Master Chen, can we change it to a sparring match? Chen Zhengdao nodded without hesitation. Who do you want to spar with? A master's first move reveals their skill. During a fight, Lu Jang could show the uniqueness of his 9th grade spiritual root more comprehensively. Lu Jang sneered inwardly and raised his finger, pointing at Fan Chen, who had his hands tucked in his sleeves and a calm demeanor. Fang Chen, do you dare to compete with me again? Chen Zhengdao followed his finger and saw Fan Chen. He found that he couldn't speak and could only respond by writing. He couldn't help but be surprised. Amused, Lu Jang explained. Vice Pavilion Master Chen, you may not know, my sweetheart was taken from me by him. With a marriage contract, in order to get my lover back. I competed with him to see who could break through a level faster, who knew he would use underhanded methods, and when I'm not convinced. So I want to ask Vice Pavilion Master Chen to be a witness, and see how I can fairly and squarely win back my beloved. This was asking Vice Pavilion Master Chen to uphold justice. However, Vice Pavilion Master Chen frowned slightly. Amused, could bully Lu Jang, who had a 9th grade spiritual root. Wang Yingfeng hurriedly came out to cover for his nephew, reporting to Vice Pavilion Master Chen, it is indeed so, this Fang Chen, relying on the fact that he once did us a favor, forced my eldest daughter to marry him. Out of gratitude, we swallowed our pride and let our daughter endure the humiliation and agreed to marry him. When my nephew was tested to have a 9th grade spiritual root and wanted to win back his lover, Fang Chen cheated and won. While speaking, he glanced at the Liu family members, threatening them to help Lu Jang lie, perhaps out of conscience, or perhaps intimidated by Chen Zhengdao's authority. They didn't dare to speak, but Qin Chansheng's eyes flickered, and he immediately said, Vice Pavilion Master Chen, I, with the Qin family's reputation, guarantee that this is true with 2 people vouching for it. Vice Pavilion Master Chen's expression turned slightly cold, and he looked at Fan Chen with a bit of authority, saying, taking advantage of gratitude is no different from robbery. Do you dare to compete with Lu Jang based on your abilities to fight for your beloved? Liu Ruxu, who was standing nearby, was stunned. It was clearly the Liu family who had betrayed their gratitude and changed the marriage contract. How did it become Fang Chen taking advantage of gratitude? She opened her mouth to explain, but Fan Chen stopped her from continuing. He wrote, words are useless, what can be solved with fists? There is no need to argue with people. Then he looked at Lu Jang and wrote, how do we compete? Lu Jang said proudly, naturally. We compete in strength. Do you have the guts to compete? Almost without hesitation, Fang Chen wrote, good, the word bastard. Lu Jang sneered inwardly, an overconfident fool. He was at the 5th level of chair refining. And in the past few days, he had even secretly cultivated the Liu family's flawed sword technique, and Fan Chen he was just lucky, and coincidentally broke through to the 3rd level of chair refining. What could he possibly use to win against him? Then let's begin. Lu Jang drew his sword and pointed it at Fang Chen from afar. Damn it, he wanted to step on Fang Chen's face, steal Fang Chen's woman, and prove the power of his 9th grade spiritual root to the world. And Fang Chen was his stepping stone to soar to the heavens. Fang Chen was not afraid. He lowered his head and came to the center of the hall, casually beckoning to him with his finger. Such a flippant gesture drew mockery from Qin Changshen. How ignorant must one be to provoke a 9th grade spiritual root? He kept saying I would regret it when he's lying on the ground like a dead dog. I'll ask him if he regrets it too. Chen Zhengdao also shook his head slightly and sighed softly. To be so careless in the face of a 9th grade spiritual root, this child is too arrogant. And this act of looking down on him also angered Lu Jang. You asked for it, Lu Jang snorted coldly. With a mighty blow like splitting Mount Hua, he slashed down with the powerful spiritual energy of the 5th level of chair refining. Fang Chen smiled. After all these days, Lu Jang hadn't improved at all. The sword shadow approached. Fan Chen released the spiritual energy of the 6th level of chair refining. His fingers, carrying spiritual energy, lightly flicked the blade of the sword, far exceeding the distance Lu Jang could handle, instantly knocking the sword out of his hand. Lu Jang was stunned. He hadn't even figured out what had happened when Fang Chen changed his finger into a palm and struck towards his face. Lu Jang frantically circulated his spiritual energy, roaring. He punched towards it, trying to knock Fan Chen away and save some face. However, the result of the clash was Lu Jang's body, weighing over 100 pounds, was sent flying by a single palm strike, smashing through a tea table before stopping. The entire place was silent, deadly silent. Only the sound of Fang Chen calmly brushing off his sleeves and the line he wrote with his brush, 9th grade spiritual root. is nothing special. The 9th grade spiritual root lost. And lost so decisively. Damn, the opposite result was unexpected for everyone. Liu Ryan's beautiful eyes flickered. She had already seen something. And thoughtfully looked at Lu Jang, who was covered in blood. Wang Yingfen, however, distressfully helped him up, saying, "Jenner, were you too careless?" Qin Chongsheng also hurriedly took out a healing pill that he himself was reluctant to use, and stuffed it into Lu Jang's mouth, saying, "Young Master Lu, don't be careless just because you two have a 10-year friendship." Vice Pavilion Master Chen is watching. Everyone chimed in, all treating Lu Jang's defeat as an accidental mistake. Chen Zhengdao, however, frowned slightly. Obviously, he also saw something was wrong. Clearly, Liu Qingshan said. She personally witnessed the 9th grade spiritual root breakthrough from the 4th level of chair refining to the 7th level. Why was he easily defeated by a 6th level chair refining martial artist? He couldn't help but stare at Lu Jang and reevaluate. Are you really a 9th grade spiritual root? If you are deceiving me, do you know the consequences? Hearing this, the Liu family members were shocked. This challenge had actually shaken the authenticity of Lu Jang's identity. Wang Yingfeng was even more anxious to protect his nephew, saying, "Vice Pavilion Master Chen, please give my nephew another chance." Lu Jang's pupils also shrank, and he hurriedly stood up, saying, "Vice Pavilion Master Chen, I swear to the heavens that I would never deceive you. I did indeed test for a 9th grade spiritual root that day. I was just a little careless just now. I am willing to fight again to prove my strength." Seeing him so adamant, it didn't seem like he was lying. Chen Zhengdao nodded slightly, deciding to give Lu Jang another chance. "All right, Chen Zhengdao," and looked at Fang Chen and said, "What do you think?" Fan Chen wrote without hesitation, "He can't beat me." He suppressed his cultivation level and used less than half of his strength. And Lu Jang still couldn't win. Judging from the result, Lu Jang was exactly as he had guessed. He was not a 9th grade spiritual root. Seeing these 5 words, Lu Jang was furious, like an enraged lion. He roared, "Surname Fang, sneak attacks are nothing. Kneel before me." With that, during the bet, he pounced like a fierce tiger. He wanted to win against Fan Chen so badly to prove himself. So his moves were full of flaws. Fan Chen seized the opportunity, lightly avoided the sword, and kicked him squarely in the chest. Theft. Lu Jang flew backwards again. The difference was, this time he spat out blood, obviously suffering internal injuries. His second defeat left the entire Liu family speechless. 1 defeat is carelessness, but 2, more and more clan members, like Liu Ryan, we are gradually noticing something fishy, except for Wang Yingfen, who was still stubbornly clinging to this excuse as his greatest trump card. The rest of the Liu family members began to question his 9th grade spiritual root identity. And this time, without Fang Chen saying anything, Chen Zhengdao also snorted softly. 9th grade spiritual root, is this all you've got? He casually took out a bronze ruler similar to the one in the testing tower, but much smaller and more delicate, and threw it in front of Lu Jang. "Test again," Chen Zhengdao said, in a commanding tone. Lu Jang laughed miserably. "I just lost twice. And that's enough to deny my spiritual root. Fine then I'll prove it to you. I'll show you what a 9th grade spiritual root is." The questioning gazes of everyone severely stunned his pride, making him feel humiliated. He grasped the miniature bronze ruler, glaring at everyone with anger. "Liu Zhengyan, I originally wanted to take the Liu family to soar with me, but unfortunately, you doubted me. Then I regret to say your Liu family is not worthy to soar with me." Hearing this, the Liu family members were immediately flustered. Qin Chongsheng said, "Young Master Lu, I believe in you. I believe in you." If Lu Jang wasn't a 9th grade spiritual root, it wouldn't just be Lu Jang's sky that would collapse. The Qin family's sky would also collapse. Lu Jang nodded slightly and patted him on the shoulder. "You are the only one who supports me the most. Don't worry, I won't let you lose." Then he looked at Fang Chen, his eyes filled with madness. "Fang Chen, you were lucky to break through to the 6th level of chair refining, and you think you can look down on a 9th grade spiritual root? Well, open your dog eyes wide. and see how dazzling my 9th grade spiritual root is." He clenched his 5 fingers and tightly grasped the bronze ruler. Immediately, a ripple began to rise from the bottom. 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. When it reached the 3rd grade, the fluctuation slowed down, crawling upwards like a snail. 3rd grade lower, 3rd grade middle. Finally, at a distance of only a hair's breadth from the 3rd grade upper, it could no longer climb. The entire place was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Lu Jang. The 9th grade spiritual root was tested again, and the result was actually 3rd grade middle. Lu Jang himself was stunned. See, could it be? How is this possible? How is this possible? I clearly tested for a 9th grade spiritual root. There must be a problem with the test. I'll try again. He once again gripped a bronze ruler, but the result was still the same. Still a 3rd grade, medium quality spirit root. Lu Jang panicked, the heavens in his heart constantly collapsing. He shook his head and said, "This is impossible. There's something wrong with this testing bronze ruler." Yes, that must be it. Seeing him so crazed that he would question Vice Pavilion Master Chen's artifact, Liu Ryan finally couldn't hold back any longer and stood up, grabbing the bronze ruler. The fluctuations at the bottom of the pool continuously surged upwards, breaking through the 3rd grade medium quality barrier, reaching the azure region. 6th grade, near root. Liu Ryan gazed at Lu Jang, revealing a relieved expression. "It seems the bronze ruler is not the problem. The problem is your test result." The entire place burst into an uproar, even with Chen Zhengdao present. They couldn't help but engage in heated discussions. What the hell is going on? He's not a 9th grade spirit root at all. I've been fawning over him for days. It disgusts me. You're lucky. Someone has already offered themselves to him, only to be wasted. That's just getting wet. Are you as miserable as the head of the Qing family? The low-grade refining liquid worth 300. He just gave. He accepted it all. Wang Yingfeng, protective of her heart, anxiously scolded. "Shut up, my genre is definitely not a 3rd grade, medium, definitely not." At this time, Liu Ryan interrupted him, lightly saying, "Are you still holding on to hope?" He should have realized it the first time he competed with Fan Chen, 3 days. A 9th grade spirit root plus Qin Chan Sheng's refining liquid support, and he was still inferior to Fan Chen. That's when I started to doubt his spirit root. The result now is within expectations. He spoke quickly, his long-suppressed heart finally finding release. "It seems he is the #1 talent of Lone Boat City. A 6th grade spirit root is still the strongest." Wang Yingfeng bit his lip. Actually, he knew better than anyone, but he was just unwilling to admit it, because Lu Jang's 9th grade spirit root had once become his pride. Looking at the despondent Lu Jang, he could only comfort him. "Jenner, it seems there's a malfunction with the testing tower's bronze ruler. There's no such thing as a 9th grade spirit root in this world. Your 3rd grade, medium, is still considered above average in Lone Boat City." Hearing this, Lu Jang, who had suffered a great blow, felt a little better. He nodded slightly. "That's right, the best is still Liu Ryan with her 6th grade near root. I'm only 3 grades lower than her. It's not that bad." Unexpectedly, Chen Zhengdao, with a livid face, put away the bronze ruler and said a sentence that made Lu Jang's world collapse. "Who said there are no 9th grade spirit roots in Lone Boat City? It's just not you." Boom boom. Lu Jang's eyes widened. That heart, which had felt slightly better, was once again mercilessly struck. "There really is a 9th grade spirit root. It's just not me." As the former possessor of a 9th grade spirit root, how could he bear such a huge disparity? The energy and blood within his body surged. He couldn't hold back any longer and spat out a large mouthful of blood, collapsing to the ground, constantly twitching. Liu Ryan was also equally struck. He clenched his fists tightly, unable to accept it. "There really is a 9th grade spirit root in Suzhou City. Wasn't it a problem with the testing tower?" Vice Pavilion Master Chen said. "Although I don't know why the testing tower's bronze ruler would test a 3rd grade, medium quality waste with a 9th grade spirit root result, but in Lone Boat City, there is indeed a true 9th grade spirit root. The daughter of sect Master Qingyan, I saw her not long ago, and even sighed at my own inferiority." However, Vice Pavilion Master Chen frowned. Although Liu Qingshan said, she left the Qingyun token with the other party. If the other party didn't take the initiative to show it, how would he know he had no choice? He had to call Liu Qingshan back. Only she had seen the 9th grade spirit root. Only she could help him find it. Liu Ryan's relaxed mood was once again suppressed. He clenched his fist tightly and said, I can't wait to know who this 9th grade spirit root is. Hearing this, Chen Zhengdao glanced at him, and considering he was a 6th grade spirit root, he said earnestly, keep a calm attitude. This 9th grade spirit root is very special, let alone your 6th grade spirit root. Even my 8th grade spirit root is vastly inferior to him. If you can get to know him, it will be the blessing of your life. The implication was, Liu Ryan was only worthy of looking up, and had no qualifications to compare. Liu Ryan showed a shocked expression. Even an 8th grade spirit root was vastly inferior. Then wouldn't his 6th grade spirit root be even more disparate? Thinking of this, he actually felt a little accepting. Even a vice pavilion master had resigned himself. What was his little 6th grade spirit root? He couldn't help but fantasize. What kind of grace did that 9th grade spirit root talent have? Could he be a dragon among men? An invincible existence in the world? Finally, he saw Fang Chen supporting his chin with his hand, standing in place and lost in thought, and found it irritating. He had shown great prominence today. His 6th-layer terrifying realm made people look at him in a new light, but the more he was like this, didn't it mean that he had misjudged him in the past? Fang Chen won against a 9th grade spirit root. Was he very proud? Liu Ryan's face was cold as frost. He said, Lu Jang hasn't cultivated diligently these years. His mind has been focused on other things. His foundation is unstable, and his swordsmanship is not great. You winning against him is nothing. Fang Chen came back to his senses. He had just been thinking, who was the 9th grade spirit root Chen Zhengdao was talking about? Even the daughter of sect master Qingyun sighed at her own inferiority. It was clear that the other party was extremely extraordinary. He didn't know how his transparent spirit root compared to the other party's 9th grade spirit root. Hearing this, he just glanced at Liu Ryan, and didn't take it to heart. Turning to Liu Ruxu, he smiled and wrote, surprised. Liu Ruxu looked at Fang Chen, her eyes full of light, nodding repeatedly, little Chen, you're amazing. Fang Chen's attitude of treating Liu Ryan like air, only caring about Liu Ruxu's attitude, made him feel inexplicably uncomfortable. He felt like he was being compared unfavorably to his sister Liu Ruxu, which made Ryan a bit unhappy. At this time, Chen Zhengdao also got up and left, without waiting for the Liu family to see him off. He jumped onto his flying sword and soared into the sky. Liu Zhengyan let out a long sigh, and slumped back in his chair. Fortunately, Vice Pavilion Master Chen is kind-hearted and didn't pursue the matter of us impersonating a 9th grade spirit root. Otherwise, our Liu family would be in big trouble. He was really scared just now. Lu Jang, who had been twitching for a while and had slightly recovered, also revealed a look of surviving a disaster. Although he wasn't a 9th grade spirit root. Fortunately, Vice Pavilion Master Chen didn't argue. But things didn't end there. A roar filled with rage suddenly exploded. Lu Jang and the others trembled, and looking towards the source of the sound, they saw Qin Chongsheng, whose features were twisted with anger, looking like he wanted to eat someone. His hair stood on end. He clenched his fists and roared, "You useless trash!" The one who suffered the greatest loss this time wasn't Lu Jang. At most, he was just returned to his original form. But Qin Chongsheng was different. He had clung to Lu Jang's thigh from the beginning, and bet heavily. Now that Lu Jang had been exposed, whether he lost face or not was beside the point. He had initially given 10 bottles of low-grade chair refining liquid. And when he came to congratulate him just now, he brought a sky-high gift worth 300.00 silver. The key was that Lu Jang had acted generously, distributing all the low-grade chair refining liquid, and it had all been drunk. He couldn't get it back even if he wanted to. Lu Jang was startled. His face changed drastically. Family head Chen, calm down, I'll find a way to pay you back. He regretted everything. He should have listened to Fang Chen, and not accepted the gifts. First pay me back. With what? Qin Chongsheng's eyes were red. He wished he could strangle Lu Jang. He had thought that the Chen family was relying on Lu Jang, relying on the sole master behind him. That's why he threw in a sky-high gift of 300 silver, and now it was all for naught. Seeing Chen Changsheng completely turn hostile, Lu Jang realized the Chen family was one of the four great families of Lone Boat City. Normally, he was not someone who could afford to cling to them. It was fine when he had a 9th grade spirit root. But without it, he was nothing in their eyes. He was so scared that he didn't dare to make a sound, hiding behind Wang Yingfeng. Chen Changsheng roared, "Gather the money and pay me back within 3 days. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless." His body shook, releasing the powerful cultivation of the first layer of foundation establishment. Intimidating the Liu family members present into terror. The Liu family was just a medium-sized family. How could they withstand the raging wrath of the Chen family? Lu Jang was even more unable to resist if no one protected him. Chen Changsheng would definitely kill him. He left with him. Liu Zhengyan glared at Lu Jang with hatred. "You troublemaker, get out, the Liu family has no room for an ungrateful wretch like you." He was furious. Not only had he failed to be carried to the clouds by Lu Jang, but on the contrary, he had lost all face and become the laughingstock of the whole city. Now he was burdened with a huge debt of 300 Wang Yingfeng, fiercely protective of her nephew, acted shamelessly. "Surname Liu, if you dare to drive Jenner away, then drive me away too." She fell to the ground, kicking her legs on the floor and wailing loudly. Liu Zhengyan had no way to deal with her when she acted shamelessly. He said, "Do you want the Liu family to bear this debt? That's 300.00 silver taels. Do you want the whole clan to starve?" Wang Yingfeng was speechless, but still wanted to protect her nephew. She said, This can't be blamed on Jenner. It's all Fang Chen's fault, that's right." If Fang Chen hadn't attracted bad luck next door to Lu Jang, would Jenner have mistakenly thought he had a 9th grade spirit root? Hearing such unreasonable words, Liu Zhengyan couldn't help but get angry. Even though he didn't like Fang Chen, he felt that Fang Chen was wronged, and couldn't help but speak a fair word. No matter what, this matter is Lu Zhang's own doing. Lu Jang will pay this debt himself. Seeing that acting shamelessly was useless, Wang Yingfeng vented all her anger on Fang Chen. "Why didn't you yield to Lu Jang just now? If you had yielded to him, there wouldn't be so much trouble." Liu Ruxu was also angry. She said, "Aunt Wan, that's too much. It was clearly Lu Jang who was chasing and bullying little Chen. And now you're blaming him, seeing that this little girl was also talking back to her." Wang Yingfeng became even angrier and roared, "Are you rebelling? All right, you two really think you're husband and wife, and are ganging up to bully me. Let me tell you, your marriage hasn't even been settled yet, Fang Chen. You have 3 days to pay the betrothal gift. If I'm not satisfied, don't even think about this marriage." Hearing this, Liu Ruxu's face turned pale. Wang Yingfeng was so angry with Fang Chen. The little bit of silver he had given Fang Chen before wouldn't be enough. She bit her red lip and was about to soften her tone and say a few words of apology. But Fang Chen held her hand and stopped her. And with his other hand, he picked up a pen and wrote unceremoniously, "If the betrothal gift satisfies you, then shut your stinking mouth from now on." He had endured Wang Yingfeng for a long time. Indulging Lu Jang time and again was one thing, but she repeatedly bullied Liu Ruxu. This time, he would make it so she never had another chance to meddle in their marriage. Wang Yingfeng's eyes were ferocious with anger, and she roared, "Good, you have guts. As long as you can really give me a satisfactory betrothal gift, I will never interfere in your affairs again. But you remember this, it must be a betrothal gift that satisfies me." "Got it." Fang Chen calmly wrote a lie. "Then just wait to shut your mouth." Wang Yingfeng clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. "Go. I'll wait." Yanbai ran back to the side room with a sullen face. Liu Zhengyan looked at Fang Chen and couldn't help but look at him with new eyes. "You've got some backbone, kid." Seeing him so domineeringly protecting Liu Ruxu, as a father, he was still gratified in his heart. It's just that Fang Chen wants to, within 3 days, gather enough betrothal gifts to satisfy Wang Yingfeng, which probably won't be easy. He secretly pondered whether or not to help Fang Chen and Liu Ruxu. Everyone dispersed, and Liu Ruxu, with an anxious expression, followed Fang Chen back to his room. And couldn't help but worrying. "Zi Chen, you shouldn't have agreed. Do you know why Aunt Wang wants a satisfactory betrothal gift? And why the deadline is exactly 3 days?" There was no one around, so Fang Chen smiled and said, "You know, how could I not know? Doesn't she just want to get a large sum of money to wipe her precious nephew's ass? As long as the betrothal gift exceeds 300,000 taels. No matter how much she doesn't want to agree to us being together. For Lu Jang's sake, she have to grit her teeth and accept it." Liu Ruxu angrily punched Fang Chen's chest and said, "You knew and still dared to agree. That's 300 taels of silver. Where are you going to get it?" "Rob a bank," Fang Chen shrugged and muttered softly. "The bank might not have as much money as I do." He had once promised to marry Liu Ruxu in a grand and glorious manner, so even without Wang Yingfang's high-priced betrothal gift demand, Fang Chen was prepared to offer a generous betrothal gift. Night fell, and after Liu Ruxu returned, Fang Chen began to refine refining liquid. With the experience of the day, he was familiar with the refining process when the day dawned. In front of him were 40 bottles of high-grade refining liquid and 20 bottles of supreme-grade refining liquid. The efficiency of supreme-grade refining liquid was much higher than yesterday. Selling the high-grade refining liquid to the Chen family, he could get another 400,000 taels of silver. And adding that to the previous 500,000, that would be a huge sum of 900,000 taels of silver. He was about to go out to the Chen family when Liu Ruxu came to meet him with a smile on her face and said, "Chen Siling invited me to her house as a guest, and she also asked me to bring you along." "Who Chen Siling?" "The one from the Chen family." Seeing her confusion, Liu Ruxu said, "She and I are close friends. We've known each other for many years. I want to ask her to help me with this betrothal gift." If it weren't for a major event concerning the survival of her marriage, she really didn't want to ask for help. But now she had no choice but to ask Chen Siling for help. "When you see her later, you must behave well. You know, maybe she's our only hope. Behave well." "Does that mean refining more high-grade refining liquid?" Fang Chen rubbed his nose and helplessly followed Liu Ruxu to the Chen family. Feeling the heavy refining liquid in his arms, Fang Chen was a little speechless. He couldn't possibly go as a guest like this, could he? He should sell the refining liquid to the Chen family first. Seeing that they were almost at the Chen family's door, Fang Chen said, "Ruxu, why don't you wait here for me? I'll buy some snacks and come back later." Liu Ruxu was stunned, and only then did she remember that this was Fang Chen's first time visiting the Chen residence. And he should bring a gift. "You're so thoughtful." "Yes, hurry back. Chen Siling is very busy. It's rare for her to make time to meet us. We can't waste her time." Fang Chen nodded and slipped into the crowd. And while Liu Ruxu wasn't paying attention, he ducked into an alley and then changed his clothes and came to the front door of the Chen family. The shopkeeper of the treasure pavilion was waiting for Liu Ruxu, and when he saw the soul master, he said with surprise, "Senior, why are you here so early? From last night to today, there were countless people urging them, the Chen family, to sell high-grade refining liquid. Many people even offered double the price just to get a bottle of high-grade refining liquid. However, Commander Chen was worried that this Soul Master Senior might not be able to provide enough high-grade refining liquid today. So she didn't dare to agree, unexpectedly. Soul Master Senior was so diligent that he came to deliver the high-grade refining liquid as promised after just one night. "Senior, please come in. I'll take you to see the young miss." In the Chen family's backyard, Commander Chen was practicing swordsmanship in the courtyard. To calm her restless mood, after thinking all night, she still couldn't make up her mind to offer herself to this senior who had his eye on her. One was age, and the other was that he might not fulfill his promise to train Soul Master apprentices. "Miss, Senior has come to deliver the refining liquid," the shopkeeper whispered. Interrupting her sword practice, Chen Siling was startled and turned her head to see the mysterious soul corpse wearing a loose robe, completely covered, and couldn't help but feel a surge of joy. To Zhou was naturally because he was very trustworthy, and came early in the morning to deliver the high-grade chair refining liquid. Her mood became even more flustered. The fluster, of course, was because she still hadn't considered whether to agree to his hint. Thinking, she quietly pinched the perceptive crystal hidden in her sleeve, calmed her mind, put down her sword, and quickly ran over. Her pretty face, flushed from exercise, was crimson, and beads of sweat dripped from her smooth chin into the deep abyss of her chest. Her sweat-soaked dance robe clung tightly to her body, outlining full and alluring curves. Fan Chen couldn't help but take another look, and quickly looked away, placing the 40 bottles of high-grade chair refining liquid on the table. "They're all here." Commander Chen was a little nervous, because he had been paying attention to Soul Master Senior's gaze. Although he only glanced at her one extra time, it was still caught by her. Her heart couldn't help but feel a burst of fluster, and she hurriedly checked the high-grade chair refining liquid. And after confirming that there were no problems, she immediately took out the prepared silver notes and 50 sets of materials. "Senior, they're all here." She bit her lips slightly, and deliberately kept her distance as she handed them to Fan Chen. Fan Chen looked surprised. What was wrong with her? Was he going to eat her? "Good. I'll come again tomorrow." Fan Chen tucked the things into his arms and turned to leave. "Senior, wait." Suddenly, Chen Siling called out to him, "Senior, have a cup of tea before you go. I've carefully brewed a pot of spirit tea for you." As her voice fell, a maid carefully carried a bowl of emerald green spirit tea. The tea was fragrant. It was clearly a top-grade spirit tea that could enhance cultivation. It was priceless, and only large families were qualified to enjoy it. Fan Chen's appetite was stirred, so he sat down and took a sip. While he was looking down, Chen Siling turned around and quietly embedded two thin, transparent crystals into her eyes, then took a deep breath and turned around to look at Senior with great nervousness. She secretly hoped in her heart that this Senior who hinted at her wasn't too old. At least it would make her feel better. If he was middle-aged, that would be best. As for his appearance, she had no expectations. As long as he wasn't too ugly, it would make her feel better. But when the perceptive crystal slowly penetrated the thick robe, revealing Fan Chen's true appearance, Chen Siling was stunned. A young man's face, too young, came into view. His age was not much older than hers, and he had delicate features, a handsome appearance, and a tall and straight figure with an otherworldly temperament. Is he really a soul master? Senior. Weren't soul masters old men who had cultivated for many years? Chen Siling looked incredulous. This was no lecherous old man, but a peerless genius, the soul master in the Qingyun sect who had a transcendent status. And even the sect master had to give him face, was only a second-rank soul master. Didn't that mean that this young man was a big shot that could shake the entire Qingyun sect's territory with a stomp of his foot? What's wrong? Fan Chen noticed Chen Siling's strange gaze and couldn't help but ask. Chen Siling panicked and quickly said, "No, nothing." Fan Chen felt that something was wrong, so he vigilantly put down the tea and said, "I have something to do. I'll be going now." Watching his departing figure, Chen Siling couldn't take her eyes off him for a long time. The shopkeeper whispered, "Miss, did you see clearly?" Chen Siling nodded with a complicated expression. The shopkeeper's voice was even lower. "Then you." Chen Siling bit her red lips, which were like rose petals, and her face gradually turned red. "If I must sacrifice for the family, I can consider it." The shopkeeper sighed in his heart and couldn't help but feel deeply regretful. It seemed that Chen Siling had made up her mind to sacrifice herself. It was really hard on the young miss to be ruined by such an old man for the sake of the family. At this time, a servant came to report. "The eldest daughter, Liu Ruxu, Miss Liu has arrived." Chen Siling came back to her senses and went to greet her wearing her dance robe. Soon she saw Liu Ruxu in a green dress, as graceful as a lotus leaf in early summer, and her eyes lit up and she said, "This girl is getting more and more beautiful." She stepped forward and put her arm around her waist, pinching her chin, and teased her with a playful expression. "Little lady, I haven't seen you for many days, and you've become even more beautiful. Let this young master take a look." Being teased by her in public like this, Liu Ruxu's face turned red, and she chided. Aren't you ashamed? Only then did Chen Siling let go of her, covering her mouth and laughing non-stop. Liu Ruxu had been with her for a long time, and knew her temperament. And seeing her so happy, she said, "You're in a very good mood. You must have encountered something good. Tell me about it." Chen Siling also urgently wanted someone to talk to, so she pulled her to the backyard and told her everything that had happened these past 2 days. After listening, Liu Ruxu said with a complicated expression, "Siling, have you really made up your mind? Even if the other party is very young, but he hinted at you like this. It shows that he is a scheming and lecherous person, and after getting your body, he may not be responsible to you." But Chen Siling had thought it through, and said, "As children of a big family, where is their freedom? Even if I don't take the initiative to sacrifice, sooner or later I will be married off by the family to someone I don't like. As a tool for marriage alliances, now I'm submitting to a second-rank soul master. I'm still climbing high." This Liu Ruxu thought of herself. She was also forced to marry. The difference was, the person she married was Fang Chen, a very reliable man, much better than this soul master who coveted beauty. She held Chen Siling's hand sympathetically. "It's just that it will be difficult for you to get married in the future." Chen Siling sighed. "If this soul master takes my body and is responsible to me from then on, then I will follow him wholeheartedly, regard him as my husband, and be loyal to him. If he abandons me, that's okay too. At worst I'll never marry, as long as he fulfills his promise and helps our Chen family train a few soul master apprentices. Max level is enough." Liu Ruxu looked heartbroken. Compared to herself, Chen Siling's future was too bleak, and she said softly, "Siling, I'm sorry. I can't help you." Chen Siling smiled, not wanting to continue discussing this issue. "By the way, where's your fiancé? Didn't I ask you to bring him along?" Liu Ruxu got angry when she heard this. "Don't mention him." On the way, he said that it was his first time visiting, and he wanted to bring a gift, so he went to buy something. But he didn't come back for a long time. And the time I had arranged with you was approaching, so I came first." Chen Siling, who already had a prejudice against Fang Chen, said, "He can't even be punctual. What kind of person is this?" Liu Ruxu was very helpless. She knew it was his first time visiting. Yet Fang Chen was late, leaving a bad impression on others. And when she asked for his help later, it would probably be difficult to speak up. At this time, the servant came to report again. "Miss," a man named Fan Chen, claiming to be Miss Liu's fiancé. Chen Siling said angrily, "Let him wait outside." Liu Ruxu was angry, but how could she bear to let Fan Chen be treated so coldly? She said softly, "Ling, he was just preparing a little gift and missed the time." "Don't blame him." Seeing Liu Ruxu defending him so much, Chen Siling became even angrier, and said, "All right, let him in. I happen to have something to say to him." She had always thought that Liu Ruxu was forced to enter into the marriage contract with Fang Chen. But now it seemed that Liu Ruxu was actually willing, which made her a little anxious. And she earnestly educated her. "Ruxu, I'm not criticizing you. But how can you treat such an important matter in life so casually? Your stepmother already sees you as a thorn in her side, and treats you badly. You should find a rich and powerful young master to marry, so that you can protect your happiness for the rest of your life. Why did you lose your mind and marry a mute?" Liu Ruxu was reprimanded head-on, and sighed slightly. "It's actually very complicated," she briefly explained. Her situation of marrying in place of her sister, Chen Siling, was, after all, someone who had seen the world, and immediately understood the details, and said, "Are you stupid? Your father, stepmother, and your sister, were they all colluding together to put on a show? Your father and sister may not have any other ulterior motives, just considering the family or themselves, but your stepmother definitely wants to pin you down with a mute and ruin your life. Her intentions are extremely malicious." After learning the reason, Chen Siling was even more unwilling to allow the two to marry. Liu Ruxu rubbed her head in pain. She knew that things would turn out this way if she told the truth. "Siling, although my and Zi Chen's union was an accident, we get along very well. I can feel his sincerity. And I believe he will treat me well in the future. Chen Siling poked her forehead in disappointment. What's the use of sincerity? Let me ask you, can his sincerity get him enough betrothal gifts? This Liu Ruxu was left speechless. If Fang Chen really had enough betrothal gifts, he wouldn't have thought of asking Chen Siling for help. He can't even gather enough betrothal gifts. How can he talk about giving you happiness? Chen Siling looked at Liu Ruxu and couldn't help but feel sad for her, and said with heartache, Ruxu, you are the most pitiful one. Your beauty and character are unique. You could have had a wonderful life, but you were forced to marry a mute in place of your sister. She clenched her fists and gritted her teeth and said, I can watch you jump into the fire pit. I won't help him with the matter of the 300 zero taels betrothal gift. No matter what, I will never allow him to ruin your life. She would be the bad guy. At this time, the servant tiptoed in to report, Miss, young Master Fang has arrived. Chen Siling's eye suddenly sharpened and said, he came at the right time. I want him to know his place and back off. Liu Ruxu was anxious and pleaded, Siling, please don't do this. Zi Chen is working very hard. He finally made some progress in martial arts. Please don't hurt his self-esteem. Seeing her defending Fan Chen so much, Chen Siling felt even more that if she didn't break them up quickly, there would be no chance. She nodded and said, don't worry, I won't insult him. I just want to have a heart-to-heart talk with him about your future. If he is a responsible person, he should know what to choose. Tap, tap, tap. Steady footsteps approached, and Fang Chen, following the maid's directions, came to the backyard he had been to before. But this time, before he could even enter, he was stopped by the maid. Only female guests are allowed in the backyard. Young master, please wait here. The young miss has instructed. Fang Chen was stunned. Then how did he get in just now? Are you Fang Chen? Ruxu's fiancé. Through a wall, he heard a familiar voice. It was Chen Siling's. This aggressive tone made Fang Chen rub his nose. Why did this girl have to face us? She was very well behaved in front of the Soul Master. But when he changed his identity, she became fierce. Yes, that's me. Fang Chen wrote a note and threw it over the wall. Chen Siling had a servant pick it up and glanced at it and said, I am Ruxu's good friend, and now I want to ask you a few questions. Please answer truthfully. First, is your marriage to Ruxu because you genuinely like her? Or do you want to cling to the Liu family and live off her? This live off her. Liu Ruxu showed a pleading look, asking Chen Siling not to embarrass Fang Chen like this. The current Fang Chen was penniless and relied entirely on the Liu family to support him. If others said he was living off her, she had no way to refute it, but Chen Siling's gaze was sharp, and she felt that the first question would make Fang Chen feel ashamed. Unexpectedly, several brand new silver notes flew in over the courtyard wall. Chen Siling was stunned and couldn't help but be slightly surprised. The 5 silver notes on the ground were all in denominations of 10, 0, adding up to a total of 50 zero taels. They were from the same bank as the one she gave to that Soul Master. Liu Ruxu was also taken aback. Zi Chen, where did you get so much money? 50 zero taels in silver notes. This was not something that Fang Chen could possess. Fang Chen just smiled and threw over another note. Miss Chen, you can ask the second question. With 50 zero taels in silver notes, it was enough for the two of them to live well. And the claim of living off her was self-defeating. Chen Siling was a little dazed, a person who had been living off others for 10 years. Where did he get so much silver? She had wanted to dissuade Fang Chen, but unexpectedly, she was shown up by Fang Chen. She frowned slightly and asked again, even if you have some savings, can you protect Ruxu? Our lone boat city is relatively peaceful, but the outside world is a dog-eat-dog world. Cruel and ruthless. Are you sure you can protect her? A beauty like Liu Ruxu will be coveted wherever she goes, and without strength, you can't protect her. Chen Siling felt that a person like Fang Chen, who had no cultivation, was not qualified to protect her. On the contrary, he would drag her down. Hearing no movement from the other side, Chen Siling mistakenly thought she had hit his sore spot, and said confidently, if you really like Liu Ruxu, then let go. You can't protect her. Before she could finish speaking, the wall that separated them suddenly cracked with a kacha sound and was actually punched through from the middle. A huge gap revealed Fang Chen's lower body. Chen Siling immediately sensed Fang Chen's realm and was surprised, refining 7th layer this kind of realm. At this age, in Lone Boat City, he could be considered a first-rate expert. She blinked her eyes vigorously and confirmed with Liu Ruxu in disbelief. Didn't you say he didn't have a spirit root? Liu Ruxu smiled bitterly. Maybe he was cultivating in secret all along. We just didn't know. Chen Siling stunned for a moment. What made her furious was that Fan Chen provocatively threw a note. Anything else to ask? Chen Siling bit her teeth slightly. This guy, what was he so proud of? So what if he had a little cultivation? What can you give Ruxu? If she marries into a wealthy and powerful family, she can get endless resources. And she can get various cultivation techniques. Do you have these? She was sure that this was the Achilles heel of people like Fan Chen who had no background. Fan Chen might have a little silver, a little cultivation, but resources and superior cultivation techniques were the core of wealthy and powerful families. These were something that a poor boy could never possess. The other side was silent for a long time, and the sound of tearing could be vaguely heard. She thought that Fang Chen was so angry that he was destroying things in self-abandonment and couldn't help but feel guilty if it weren't for the fact that she had no choice. She wouldn't want to hurt others for no reason. So, her tone softened slightly, and she said earnestly, Fang Chen, I'm not intentionally targeting you. It's just that Ruxu's life is too bitter. I hope you can let go and let her marry the person she should marry. If you are willing to give up the marriage contract, I am willing to provide you with some high-grade refining liquid as compensation for you. Is that okay? But there was still no sound from the other side. After a while, a small package was thrown over. Chen Siling was surprised and had the maid pick it up and opened it in front of Liu Ruxu. 5 bottles of high-grade Che refining liquid suddenly came into view. High-grade Che refining liquid. Where did you get it? Chen Siling looked shocked. High-grade Che refining liquid was sold exclusively by the Chen family. Limited to 1 bottle per person, it was impossible for anyone to buy 5 bottles at the same time. Could he have hired people to snap them up? This guy really has some money. Chen Siling admitted that she had underestimated Fang Chen's financial resources. But these 5 bottles don't amount to much, do they? Chen Siling said. At this time, she found that at the bottom of the package, there was also an unnamed cultivation technique with its cover torn off. Was he tearing this just now? Chen Siling picked it up with a surprised expression and said, You're not going to tell me this is a cultivation technique, are you? But when Chen Siling opened it and looked at the first page, she suddenly stood up from her chair, her beautiful eyes filled with shock. Emperor rank high-grade mental cultivation method, she gasped, and said, in disbelief, the biggest wealthy family in Lone Boat City. The best cultivation technique they can cultivate is only Emperor rank middle grade. At most, but Fang Chen gave Liu Ruxu an Emperor rank high-grade mental cultivation method. This was a top-level resource that no wealthy family could provide. At this time, Fang Chen's note was thrown over again. Steward, anything else to ask? Commander Chen, who had wanted to dissuade Fang Chen, was instead given a harsh lesson by Fang Chen. Commander Chen, as the eldest daughter, had never been treated like this before. She gritted her silver teeth, picked up the sword on the table and shouted, You, come over here, I want to see. In front of me, if you can still be so arrogant. Liu Ruxu couldn't help but laugh and cry. Tugging at Commander Chen's sleeve, Commander, forget it. We agreed to just chat for a few words. Why are we starting a fight? Are you giving up? Chen Siling said angrily. Don't stop me. I'm going to teach him a lesson today. Her gaze was now fixed on a tall figure in green robes slowly crossing the moon gate. Fang Chen's face was also immediately imprinted in her eyes. With just one glance, Chen Siling froze in place as if struck by 5 thunderbolts. Who did I see? Soul Master Senior. Chen Siling's mind went blank. She felt like the world had turned upside down. Fang Chen, that useless trash, the mute whose reputation spread throughout Lone Boat City. How could he look exactly like the second-rank Soul Master? No, they are the same person. They are the same person. her best friend's fiancé, was actually the mysterious Soul Master Senior she was preparing to offer herself to. It took her a while to be awakened by Liu Ruxu's voice. "Commander, don't be angry, Chen. Look at how angry you've made the commander." Apologized to her, the commander was suddenly awakened. And she couldn't help but gasp in her heart. How dare she let a second-rank Soul Master apologize to her? She quickly dropped the sword in her hand and waved her hand. "No, I was impulsive. I offended young Master Fang," she realized. That Liu Ruxu seemed to be unaware of Fang Chen's true identity. It must be Fang Chen deliberately concealing it. She couldn't expose him. So she promptly changed her words. "Young Master Fang, please sit down." She was a little reserved, and politely invited Fang Chen to sit down, and personally picked up the teapot, poured him a cup of tea, and held it up to him with both hands. "Young Master Fang, please have some tea." Fang Chen felt strange. She was still so fierce just now. Why did she change as soon as she saw him? Liu Ruxu also looked strange. Wasn't she clamoring to teach Fang Chen a lesson? Why was she suddenly so polite when she saw him? Could it be that she was giving her face and didn't want to argue with Fang Chen? Thinking about it, she smiled with relief and said, "Chen, Siling is my best friend. She was just testing you just now. Don't take it to heart." Fang Chen nodded and wrote, but Chen Siling was sweating profusely. Thinking back to her behavior just now, she was terrified. She was actually making things difficult for the Chen family's great backer, and even drew her sword at him. The more she thought about it, the more uneasy she became, with an uneasy look. Her voice was extremely gentle. "Young Master Fang, I heard from Ruxu that the Liu family's matriarch is making things difficult for you with the betrothal gift. Ruxu and I have been friends for many years, so naturally I can't sit idly by. I'll have someone bring 300 taels of silver in a while. I hope it can help young Master Fang." She wanted to make amends, but Liu Ruxu was confused. That's not what Commander Chen said just now. She firmly said she wouldn't help, and vowed to break them up. As a result, Fang Chen didn't even ask for help, and she took the initiative to help. What's even more outrageous is that during the following interaction between the three of them, Chen Siling actually left her aside and kept being obsequious to Fang Chen, eating snacks. She would get them for Fang Chen first, touring the Chen family garden. She would also introduce and explain the history of the Chen family to Fang Chen first. She even revealed a lot of secrets to Fang Chen that she didn't even know. Chen Siling had been with her for so many years and had never been so enthusiastic about him. So on the way back, Liu Ruxu was unhappy in the carriage. "What's wrong?" Fang Chen counted the various gifts, big and small, that Chen Siling had given him, and found that Liu Ruxu's expression was a little off, and asked in confusion. Liu Ruxu looked at Fang Chen, hesitated to speak, and finally couldn't help but say sourly, "Chen Siling seems to have fallen in love with you." Fang Chen's eyes widened. "Don't talk nonsense." Liu Ruxu felt even more sour and said, "I've never seen her so attentive to a man. And at first she was aggressive towards you. But when she saw you in person, she changed into a different person. What is this if not love at first sight?" As she spoke, her eyes turned slightly red. She never dreamed that the dog-blood story of a best friend stealing her man would happen to her. Kind as she was, she didn't blame Chen Siling, but instead said soudly, "See Chen, if you think Chen Siling is good, choose her. I won't blame you." There was a hint of inferiority in her eyes. In terms of family background, status, and background strength, Chen Siling was much better than her. If Fang Chen married her, he could get endless benefits, and wouldn't be burdened with troubles like in the Liu family. Seeing that she was about to cry, Fang Chen realized that she was really sad, and quickly pulled her into his arms. "Silly girl, what Chen Siling's intentions towards me are, let's not talk about that for now. But do I need to say anything about my feelings for you? When I was at my most difficult time, you saved me. This kindness is worth my lifelong repayment." Listening to Fang Chen's sincere words, Liu Ruxu felt a little better. "Secretly use the high-grade chair refining liquid I gave you just now. Don't be stingy. I have a lot more. Also, cultivate the Emperor rank high-grade mental cultivation method diligently." Fang Chen instructed again. He had considered giving her the supreme grade Che refining liquid as well. But he was worried that she would ask too many questions and expose his identity as a soul master, so he temporarily let her use the high-grade Che refining liquid. Only then did Liu Ruxu pick up some smiles. Yes, I will work hard with the high-grade Che refining liquid and the Emperor rank high-grade mental cultivation method. She was confident that she could improve her cultivation in a short time. Although she couldn't catch up with Chen Siling, she would shorten the gap, leaning in Fang Chen's arms. She found some sense of security again. At that time, the commander promised to help us gather enough betrothal gifts. Now we don't have to worry. But when they returned to the Liu family, they found several luxurious carriages parked at the Liu family's door. Going inside, they saw boxes with red paper pasted on them. Stretching from the door to the living room, seeing Liu Ruxu return, Wang Yingfeng's face blossomed with a smile. Ruxu, come quickly, come and meet young Master Zhu. You remember him, right? Liu Ruxu was puzzled, and walked into the main hall, and saw young master in luxurious clothes sitting with her father. Liu Jang, as equals, he was 8 feet tall, handsome man dashing, with extraordinary sharp eyes. And his cultivation had reached the foundation establishment realm. It was just that he was much older than Liu Ruxu. He was over 30 years old. At first sight, Liu Ruxu recognized him and called out this name with a hint of resistance. Fan Chen also frowned when he walked in. Why was it him? 5 years ago, Zhu Jianshan was tested to have a 4th grade spirit root, and a relative of his in the Qingyun sect found a way to get him into the Qingyun sect. He was only at the 3rd layer of Che refining back then. But now, after years of training in the Qingyun sect, he had become a master of the foundation establishment realm. What made Fan Chen remember him vividly was that he had once tricked Liu Ruxu into a dilapidated temple and tried to defile her. It was Fang Chen's father who intervened and drove Zhu Jianshan away, which was why Liu Ruxu took such good care of Fan Chen after Fang Chen's father died. Liu Ruxu looked at the red boxes all over the ground and suddenly had a bad premonition. Father, this is… Liu Jang sighed deeply and said, young Master Zhu came back from the Qingyun sect to recuperate from his injuries, and happened to know that you haven't married yet, so he came to propose. Propose? Liu Ruxu immediately and fiercely objected. I already have a fiancé. Young Master Zhu, please take all the betrothal gifts back. The Wang Yingfeng said, fiancé, are you talking about Fang Chen? Has he offered a betrothal gift? Even if he did, could it be more than what young Master Zhu gave? Do you know how much these betrothal gifts are worth? A full 500 taels of silver. Can Fang Chen afford it? Everyone looked at Fang Chen, and many clan members showed pity. Fang Chen was really unlucky. One wave after another, Zhu Jianshan also looked at Fang Chen provocatively. If it weren't for their father and son back then, he would have already consummated his relationship with Liu Ruxu. But it wasn't too late to come today. A betrothal gift of 500 taels of silver was enough for Fang Chen to watch helplessly as his woman was taken away. Liu Ruxu was also anxious. Chen Siling only agreed to give 300 taels of silver as a betrothal gift. And now with 500, Chen Siling couldn't get it out in a short time. Just then, Fang Chen unceremoniously wrote a line. You've been in the Qingyun sect for 5 years, and you can only come up with 500 in betrothal gifts. The Liu family members looked at each other, and Lu Jang couldn't help but say sarcastically, it's only Fang Chen. Have you forgotten that you are still living off others? Wang Yingfeng even directly showed a contemptuous expression. If your ears aren't good, I can repeat it again. This is a betrothal gift of 500 taels of silver. 500.000. A person who doesn't have 5 taels of silver is also worthy of talking big here. Zhu Jianshan unfolded his folding fan and shook it gently, smiling and saying, Aunt, please be more tolerant of Fang Chen. After all, his fiancée is being taken away. It's normal for him to be upset and say some extreme things. Then, his tone changed again, and he said, in a mocking tone, but Fang Chen, it's not that I'm criticizing you, but a person should have a little self-awareness. Look in the mirror and see, are you worthy of Ruxu? A person who can't even afford a betrothal gift still fantasizes about marrying her. The whole hall burst into laughter. Liu Ruxu clenched her fists and wanted to say something. But Liu Ryan on the side sighed softly. Don't be so naive anymore. A woman's 10,000 words of defense are not as good as a man's one act of standing tall. Fang Chen is really not worthy of you. Zhu Jianshan's Fen swayed even more proudly. He snorted disdainfully and turned to Wang Yingfeng and Liu Zhengyan and said, Uncle, Aunt, what do you think? If you are willing, please accept these betrothal gifts. And let's set the wedding date. Wang Yingfeng readily agreed. But Liu Zhengyan always frowned, no matter what. Zhu Jianshan almost defiled Liu Ruxu back then, which showed his despicable character. How could his daughter be happy if she married him? It would be better to marry Fang Chen, at least Fang Chen's character, after 10 years of observation, was very upright, and he was a true gentleman. Say something, Wang Yingfeng urged impatiently. Liu Zhengyan sighed silently. This was where he hesitated. The Liu family still had to rely on Wang Yingfeng's family, and some things had to respect her opinion, so he hesitated for a long time and couldn't make up his mind. But Fang Chen was not in a hurry. He took out a thick stack of silver notes and slapped them on Zhu Jianshan's table. Everyone looked closely, including Liu Ruxu, and showed shocked expressions. Silver notes. Liu Zhengyan stepped forward in surprise and counted them in front of Zhu Jianshan and exclaimed, 510.000 taels. What? Wang Yingfeng snatched them over in disbelief. Could they be fake? 500. The entire Liu family's income for 3 years isn't even this much. Fan Chen, a person who lives off others. Where did he get so many silver notes? However, after careful examination, they found that they were silver notes from the largest bank in Lonbo City. Genuine. Liu Ryan beside her looked at them with some disbelief. 510.000 taels in silver notes. Could he have gotten so many silver notes? Facing the shocked gazes, Fan Chen calmly wrote a note and slapped it in front of Zhu Jianshan. You've been in the Qingyun sect for 5 years. How are you even worse than me? 510.000 taels. 500.000 taels. The difference was clear. Such an insulting face slap made Zhu Jianshan's face turn green, and he slammed the table and shouted, Fang Chen. What do you mean? Fang Chen's mouth curled up, and he quickly wrote, Isn't my meaning very clear? Are you even worthy of competing with me for Ruxu? As soon as these words came out, Liu Ruxu, whose mood was depressed, blushed slightly and looked at Fang Chen's figure. Her eyes brimming with radiance, Liu Ryan suddenly felt a trace of envy.